What did you think of the movie with John Travolta, the Gotti movie? Accurate, not accurate?
I thought it was horrible, honestly. I didn't watch it all. I watched pieces of it. The original Gotti movie with Amada Sante, I thought was fantastic. When that movie came out, I actually was the cellmate of Jeannie Gotti in prison. Later on, we didn't get along over Joe Gambino, who was, to me, was a very gentleman, quiet. I like Joe a lot. But Amada Sante, his nephews grew up with us. Charlie used to work with me, passed away. His other nephew, Mark, is he's best friends with my brother-in-law. Gentleman. Amon's a gentleman. They're from our neighborhood, Ozone Park. Amon's mother was from there. So, these guys are all characters to other people. With us, they personalized friends and family. So it's, a different situation with us. And he understood the life of Monasante. To me, he's a great actor. He never made it to, I believe, to the level he should have. I mean, he did some good scenes. He played Julius Caesar. He played a lot of roles, but one in particular he was very good at. In the Gotti movie, I thought he was fantastic. And the Travolta one, I think Travolta's a great actor. I just think it was done horribly. And I think they should have let the producers and directors, the kid from Entourage, he's a nice guy, he's intelligent, he's the one that ran that project, but they didn't give him much say. So he took the fall for it, but I don't believe it was his fault.
So because you were like around all these guys, like, can you tell us what John Gotti was actually like? I mean, we see bits and clips and he really kind of brought light to the mafia in from the mafia's perspective in a negative way, because it's supposed to be very low key and not so, in the public eye. But what was John Gotti really like from your perspective?
For the people that don't know, there's people that, talk nonsense on social media and the media. And, I put some clips out of me picking him up, John Gotti Sr. from court in Manhattan where we get pulled over. I put some clips out at the Ravenite for the people who said I was never at the Ravenite. I put clips out of me escorting his family out of the house. I put some videos and pictures out from the Helmsley Palace when I'm at the weddings and the wedding parties of his kids. So, for the people, so they understand the accuracy of my knowledge. John Gotti was like a father figure to me. I was raised around when he first started as a made guy in the Gambino family in the late 70s. And I was around, I started coming around in the early 80s with him. Before that, I was around the Ruggianos until Andy went to jail. And when Gotti went away, I was with him for the whole ride. So for the people who want to know who he is, I slept in that house. He was a great guy to go out with. I tell everybody, as a human being, you go drinking with the father. He was fun. He laughed. He liked to party around to different swanky clubs. He definitely had a great charisma about him. He treated us great, but when it came to business, he was very serious. He was hot, and he wanted things his way. And everybody has faults, right? So, was he loud in certain ways and egotistical? I guess. He wasn't an old-fashioned gangster where he was quiet. He did thumb his nose out at the law enforcement and different people. He demanded respect. He got respect. So anybody that says anything different, you could call him anything you want, but he knew how to manage and maneuver guys left and right. And there was nobody that was going to maneuver him. He was intelligent that way. I love the guy. I put my life out for the guy. I didn't have the same feeling for his son, to be honest with you. And I'm not here to bash his son either. It's just the reality of the life. I was told to protect his son by him. And, that's what I did. But the father, I had a lot of respect for him. So, I like the father a lot. So, people that want to badmouth him, they don't really know him. They don't know anything about him. He had faults like any human being. Nobody's perfect.
How was he different from his son, John Gotti Jr.? Personality-wise, how were they different?
The father was very secure with himself. He grew up in my same neighborhood I grew up in. He went to the same high school as I went to. He didn't grow up with anything, any food, any clothes like I did. He used Kennedy Airport as a piggy bank like I did. Those were the areas where we all made money. We hijacked trucks. A lot of them were giveaways, actually, give-me-ups. We controlled the dock, so we used to give them the fake manuscripts, and we'd pick up. They load for us, not knowing. We would just show up an hour and a half earlier, give them manuscripts that we had, and they would fill our trucks up for us. So, I can relate to him. I was a bookmaking partner with him and his partner Willie Boy Johnson. So he had a hard life. The son, on the other hand, went to LaSalle military school, very rich private military school. The father put him in. He grew up in a rich neighborhood in Howard Beach. He didn't struggle like we did. He wasn't hardcore. I mean, that's okay. But he didn't fit in. He was trying to mimic his father's life, and he wasn't close to him. And I don't like that everybody blames the father for bringing the son around. That's not true. I tell everybody the accuracy of that. The father did not want him nowhere near there. That's why he put him in military school. The kid started getting into trouble on the streets. He started coming up to our neighborhood. He was doing dumb things. And the father wanted to make sure he didn't lose his life, like he lost his younger son as a child on an accident. A mini bike accident was a terrible thing. The father would never get over that. Just like I'll never get over losing my daughter, or any parent loses a child, they know what it is. So he was trying to protect his son, and the only way to protect him was keep him next to him after a while, because the kid was running amok. So, John wasn't his father. He wasn't raised him. It was not necessary to be your father. You can love your father, but you can't blame your father. I was there during this. His father just did what he thought was best to protect him.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I actually heard you on another podcast, YouTube channel, where you said you're happy to make an amends with John Gotti Jr. if he's willing to come to the table as well.
Well, you got to understand, people are insecure. They don't want to, admit the truth. And the truth is, I was sitting in a Brazilian penitentiary, protecting him and guys, whether I liked them or didn't like them. I was protecting them. I went on the run. I left my family. I lost millions of dollars, tons of money, houses. I lost my life protecting them, and they all sat with the government. They're making excuses, but there is no excuse. Everybody understands in our world, you sit down with the government, you're considered a rat. So it wasn't just him. It was all his captains, his right-hand man, Scars. They were all captains that were, giving information against me, meeting with the government, betraying me, betraying the oaths, betraying the mafia. The Banana family, the boss was wearing a wire and all them. So this is while I'm sitting in a penitentiary. I didn't betray anybody. I fired back years later after they all betrayed me and betrayed their oath. I'm Albanian. I didn't even take an oath, and I believed in it. So, I know their insecurity. I tell everybody, just check the timeline where I was. And any nonsense about, well, maybe I was a cooperator, prior to that is also nonsense. There's no reason to leave the country if you're cooperating. There's no reason to sit in a penitentiary for 3 years if you're cooperating. There's no reason to spend millions of dollars if you're cooperating. And if you are cooperating, the first thing that comes out when you take a stand is that you've been an informant and a cooperator. Legally, they have to expose that. So these are all ridiculous things. And Gotti Sr.'s lawyer, Richie Raybach, was my lawyer. So, I was very transparent. I used mob lawyers and nonsense. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point, but history's got to tell itself truthful, not, a spin on, the accuracy of some of these statements they make. Well, nobody got indicted because of my statements. That's not true either. When a guy walks into a federal government and he knows information, there's tons of guys running in and taking plea deals so they don't get hammered with life sentence or death penalties or everything else. And there's a million investigations that are opened up because of those conversations with the government that directly or indirectly, you're going to catch cases like we all did. So, I'm very laid back on what I do because that's my past life. But, they're not going to push that on me. None of these families are going to. And for the mobsters that are accurate, still out there, I don't have a lot of respect for because they live that life. But if they really believe in that life, then come kill guys like me that you say that about or other guys, and then get busy. You guys just say you're gangsters. This ain't the era where I lived in. We were shooting and killing and doing different things. So, they should just continue on their own path and keep my name out of their mouth.
And I think the importance of what it is that you're saying is to say, let's not people who live that life, let's not try to project now that life at this point in time to negatively impact the youth, because we went through that life and we know what's at the end of it. And I think that's the importance of what you're trying to say here. Let's not do that. Let's not go that route. Let's not talk about that or be about that life anymore, or let's not try to play games. Let's really just say the truth of it all. And I think that's the message you want to get across, right?
When you got guys on social media, glamorizing that world, I don't glamorize it. I know what it is. I know it's nonsense. It's garbage. There's no loyalty. So I try to tell this to the kids so they don't fall into that same trap I did. But if they didn't believe in that life, Joe Messina wore a wire. You guys in Canada know that he was involved with the Canada when they did it. Obviously, he did a hit they killed 3 captains here, Bonanno family. Joe Messina was involved in that. So why isn't anybody killing Joe Messina? Go find him. Leonetti out of Philadelphia, go find him, kill him. Go find Ralph Natale, kill him. Go find John Jr., kill him. Sammy Gravano, kill him. So, when these guys are talking, they just discard anybody that's jammed up or goes to jail, and you're useless after you go to prison. None of these guys are helping anybody. They don't believe in what they say. They only believe in their money. And they believe in, you're good as your last dollar, and when you're useless, you're useless to them. So that's the reality of the life. I'm just being honest. And, obviously gangsters don't want to be honest. And, at the time when I was in penitentiary in Brazil, they should have been killing guys, the other crews should have been killing guys that were cooperating, right? That's our laws. That's what we swear by. But they don't do that. So, when they talk in this nonsense and they're almost embarrassing the way they're on these internets and typing away on the fake names. That's not a gentleman that does that or a man that does that. It's kind of laughable.